Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. What's going on, guys? Brandon here. We have your market update for the day. Let's dive into this quick. So the market is deciphering what exactly is going on and trying to digest the comments from Chair Powell's comments yesterday. And it was really a crazy day. We noted in the market update yesterday. Go back and look at that with a little bit of a detail and explainer of really the gyrations in the market and a bunch of, the commodities, equities, everything got hammered. I mean, everything from 1 to 5%. So really big moves in the market. And the only thing that really gained was, the DXY sat there and, bond yields came down just a tad, and the DXY was the winner of the day, obviously up at 105, almost 106. So everything's selling off in essence, oil, everything, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and jumping into the dollar. People not really understanding what the consequences are going forward and what everyone thinks is going to be happening, because everyone kind of figured, hey, there's going to be a few more small rate hikes with Powell, and he came out basically yesterday and said, hey, we still got a lot of hot economic data. I mean, you think about Marty Bent in his newsletter, a number of people, Lynn Alden, there's a lot of people talking about a really good reminder of, hey, a year ago, we already had high inflation. So we're operating off a higher base of inflation. So 6% inflation, 7% inflation off of an already high base last year. So think about that. That's how much inflation has risen. And that's what the average person just, again, doesn't understand, because we're not taught it in school purposely. These things were made to be workers, not thinkers. So an average person doesn't even think about this. There's a great, let me see here, a great little thing here Marty Bent put in with shrinkflation. And this is something that, just debasement and a thread going through all these different people, showing you, hey, look, the prices might be the same, but think about the chip bag you used to get, or whatever it might be 20 years ago. I mean, it was a massive bag, a real family size bag. Now, I mean, you open up that same family size bag, and there's like you can't even see the bottom. You're like, well, where is everything? Well, guess what? It's happening again. It's been happening all throughout the years, actually, and now it's just accelerating. And we have smaller and smaller unit price, smaller and smaller units for the same price. So a larger unit price, and this just continue. I mean, look at this. I mean, every walk of life, you can see this happening as companies try to figure out how to meet their margins while dealing with inflation and exploding input costs. This is a real thing that we're going to have to deal with this decade, and in the really deglobalization in general, this cheap, just-in-time market logistics system we had set up, when everything is deglobalizing and we're bringing things back in, which is good in the long term, because it's going to create better sustainability and better redundancy and more resiliency and independence. This is what creates freedom at the end of the day. So we will learn, we will understand how to better use things, technology coming, obviously automating things, AI. We will use these things for the better. And I have great hope that humans are going to protect themselves at the end of the day. And there will be more jobs. There will actually be more jobs. And I believe down to my core, there will be more jobs and more abundance, just because of cheap energy and better logistics and better supply, better resiliency, and there will be more abundance because of that moving forward. So I want to state that here and now. AI, all these things will be great boons for for not just Americans, but for humans everywhere. And these are not things to fear. These are things we have control over at the end of the day, whether it's voting, whether it's our own independence and freedom and liberties, AI, all these things, they're up to us. So it's incumbent on us to spread the word of truth and reality and getting prepared for what's going to happen. I think the biggest threat we really have, and we talk about the wealth inequality gap and things like that we've created all these things, but it's not being prepared for the future. It's not being prepared and just putting our heads in the sand and just going back and turning the TV back on, getting the DVR fired up, or turn on get your fantasy sports set up and your games, your bread and circus. That's the biggest threat to everything we have going on. It's not that these things are actually going to happen. It's just so many people are going to be unprepared for what's going to happen. It's going to catch a lot of people by surprise, and that's going to affect a lot of people. So that's the little riff, the little rant to start this. So I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. If you like our market updates, please subscribe, or please share it out to somebody. The freedom reality, truth, everything is hated by the algorithm. So the only thing we have is to be doing this. And this is something that I want to do and produce for hours a day and be doing content, whether it's our blog with the link in the description there, the written version of what we do with thought pieces, longer thought pieces. We're doing interviews on here now. And the way that we can sustain this, obviously, is getting this out, showing the algorithm and overpowering the algorithm. And we will be on Nostr soon and doing what we do there. I'm just firing that up, and things like the Ghost platform and just the creator economy and value for value, trading really donations and tips instead of trying to ask for subscriptions and things like that. That is the future. That's the Bitcoin future that is being enabled right now as we speak. And these things are being built everywhere. And we need 10,000 times more podcasters and 10,000 times more bloggers and content creators to overwhelm the system and to create. And one of my passions, the thing we're creating right now, and we'll have a lot of it out this year, is children's content, books, ABCs for whatever. This is all happening right now. The things are being built in the background, because if we can train the youth for what is money, what is actually going on, what is truth, and what is reality, then we know the future will be very abundant and very hopeful. So that is the biggest thing. Instead of having our kids being taught by this government-run system, we are the ones to teach them, and the people, the parents, the people that know the best for their children. So as in saying that, please share it out if you feel inclined. Let's look at the bonds. So again, under 4% here. It's been obviously red flags going off, warning signs. It's been trending upward over the last few weeks, last month or so. So we're going to keep a really, really close eye on that. The trifecta, the 10-year yield, the dollar relative strength of the dollar, as this has been obviously trending up for the last month or so, and sucking liquidity up, and people have been selling off other assets and jumping into the dollar, just not certain as to what's going to be happening moving forward. So just be very, very careful in what you're doing. The indexes, equities are kind of flat right now. So let's see the end of the trifecta here. Crude is up. I believe it was 75 or 76 yesterday. So, and I'm not saying it's down, but it might be just down on the day, but somewhat flat, we'll say, from yesterday here. So tagged just a little bit. Silver and gold holding up. They got smoked yesterday, and those are holding up about where they were yesterday. So let's check that was the big trifecta, and then gold and silver are part of that liquidity triangle as well that we talk about, and Bitcoin is the other one. So Bitcoin's about 22,000. So it's dipped down a little bit as well. It got caught in that crossfire as well of assets being sold off to pile in the dollar, as Powell came out with his comments yesterday. So again, that's why I love this site. Getting updates here as well. We got the calendar, but check the calendar really quick to see what's happening. I think we checked everything here. So again, the United States 10-year yield, this is really kind of the benchmark of everything, and the DXY and oil. So as those three go, everything else goes. And then, some of those big indicators, like we always talk about, are gold, silver, and Bitcoin, seeing those big liquidity indicators as to what's going on. We're like M2, where global currency flows, are they positive, negative? Those three generally will track that pretty well. So let's look at the calendar really quickly. I showed you guys the other day the video. Go check that out on how to look at the calendar on here and how to just sort this really briefly and see some of the most important events. So Powell spoke yesterday, and then next week, this Friday. Wow, I can't believe it's already March 10th at the end of the week. So we have non-farm payrolls and an unemployment rate coming up. So, and then next week we have the inflation numbers coming out. So a really big next, 7 days here. So we need to stay abreast of this and as to what's going to happen here, so we can be in control. This is really all it takes to be in control of your own portfolio and to understand what's going on, quite honestly. Being in all different asset classes, we have our investment newsletter as well. So go check in the next 24 hours or so. We'll have our monthly investment newsletter we come out with our allocation, where we are at in the different asset classes. So go check that out in blog description. Our blog article link is in the description here below. So check that out, and you can see the updated allocation and what my thoughts are for what's building us wealth and what I'm looking at here in the next couple months, the next 6 to 12 months. So I will talk about that here in that article. So go check that out. That will be out tomorrow. So check the link there. And then to wrap, let's see why we talk about this every day, and why we talk about being your own central bank and getting independent, getting resilient, and buying gold, silver, Bitcoin, and food storage, energy, water, and building community. This is why right here. $31.5 trillion in debt, $31.6 trillion in debt. This $540 billion, that's going to be $1 trillion interest on the debt students. Probably going to be $1.5 trillion, probably going to be $2 trillion in the next few years. as bonds roll over and we have to refinance, the government has to refinance the rates. We're at 120% debt to GDP. That means the governments have to do financial repression. They have to print, debase the currency. You're going to see more of this, more shrinkflation is absolutely what's going to happen, more and more and more, because government has to pay off their debt somehow, and they're not going to hard default. They might currency transition into a CBDC. They might try to do something like that when that's ready. But this is what will happen first. They're going to try to print their way out. Like Lyndon Alden says, in the 1940s, they did it. They're going to try it again. They don't want deflation. They don't want people becoming more sovereign and independent, having more wealth. That's not the goal of central bank. The central bank's goal is to have complete control, complete power. And we've talked about this a million times. This is not me saying this. This is all their own words, all their own books, videos, documentaries, the conspirative hierarchy, the tragedy and hope, all the groups you can think of, Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group, Royal Institute of Affairs, Trilateral Commission, all these people. These people are all set up to gain power and control over people. And this has been in the making for hundreds of years. And these are just the global cabal of elites, which it is what it is. That's life. That's how it works. But once you understand the lens of which to look through everything, then everything becomes clear. Global, mandates, we'll say, global mandates, all these things become very, very clear and very easy to understand why they're happening. So check those things out, do a little bit of your own homework, and you're going to begin to see very clearly what's going on. It's going to tell you what to invest in. It's going to tell you, hey, I want things without counterparty risk. And you're only going to put certain things into assets, certain amount into assets that have counterparty risk. And you're only going to want to control your assets even more. Because at the end of the day, this is why we do this. The average person has 30,000. No, sorry. The average person has 133,000, or the average 401k, I guess, balance, I should say, is $133,000 if I could talk today. The median is $33,000. So the average person probably has somewhere in there, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, which I've seen before in a stat. And that's 50 years of work, all for what? For nothing. This is why, because this global cabal has not taught you purposely how to fend for yourself and to just get by off of peanuts and just worry about your fantasy sports. And hey, don't worry, don't let there be any civil unrest. We're going to make sure that sports are open while everything's locked down and Home Depot's open, because that way people don't get in the streets. This is the game being played on you. But if you start to see the right lenses, or through the right lens of what's actually happening, you can fend for yourself, and all this becomes moot, and you can live above the fray, quite honestly. So I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Please share this out. The algorithm hates truth. And I appreciate the community that we're building here. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, food, water, energy, land, barterability, and community. Community is the number one most important thing that we can do. And this is not financial advice. This is freedom advice. And again, please share this out. If you feel inclined to share this out to people that you think might get it or might need to hear this, freedom and truth are hated by the algorithm. So the only way we can get this out to secure prosperity is to have 10,000 times more of us doing this right here and then sharing this out and overwhelming the system. So I appreciate you. Time is energy. Bitcoin is time. Bitcoin is energy. So Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Oh, before I go, let's see if Bitcoin's running. Is Bitcoin running? Let's refresh it just to be sure. Is Bitcoin running? Just to make sure. The hardest supercomputer ever known, hardest asset ever known. Beautiful. It is running. Blocks are filling up. 51 minutes ago, 14 minutes ago, an hour ago, a bunch of blocks successively. An average block time of, let's see here, we'll refresh this as well. An average block time of 9 minutes, 40 seconds. Beautiful. All right. I appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.